If I can name one thing that is given out for free by every single person in the world, it would have to be advice. We give it out freely and often, even when we aren't the real professional on the subject we are advising. This is one of the most crucial skills that you must develop, your selective filter for advice. In a single lifetime, the average person makes 773,000 decisions and will come to regret 143,000 of them. When 18% of our decisions are regretted, you can see why so many people enjoy advice when it comes time to make a decision. I'm not here in this episode to tell you to never take advice, but what I want to cover is how to be selective when taking that advice. So let's get started.
Welcome to the Financial Mirror. Where future success is reflected in our knowledge of fixing the one thing we can control, ourselves.
Hey, what's going on? Thank you for joining me today on the Financial Mirror as we continue to work on improving the one thing you can control yourself. If this is the first time joining in, don't forget to hit subscribe on YouTube to be notified of all the new episodes as they release. If you are listening to this on the podcast, whatever platform you listen to it on, don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. If you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave that 5-star review and a written comment, as those go a long way in spreading this information to other listeners that are also trying to get their personal finances together. Most of this podcast is about personal finance. Today is a little bit different. But it's a topic that really hits home, and I couldn't wait to do an episode on it. So I decided that for episode 80 that I would do something a little different. This has it's not directly tied to finances, but what I wanted to do was take a moment because ultimately it affects your finances, right? But I really want to take a moment and talk about people and their ability to give advice. So life is a wonderful place. It's full of adventures. It's something that you get to, we're all so lucky to be a part of. And I'm happy. I'm happy that it is the way it is. But the greatest part of life is that we all don't have to live the same one. Like, we don't, by any means, do any of us have to live the exact same life. None of us have to take the same journey. None of us are going to get the same results. Nothing is or should be equal, as we all put in different efforts, and we should see the exact fruits of our labor, right? So on the screen, you can see this quote by Banksy. Says, "Not everyone will understand your journey. That's okay. You're here to live your life, not to make everyone understand." And I think that's important, especially when we get into the topic of advice, when we start thinking about how we have to be selective on the advice that we hear. I think that goes a long ways. This quote goes a long ways. But the problem is that we navigate and we journey through our path, and there are going to be people that we're going to encounter. Every single day, there's going to be someone else that you're going to encounter. And some of them will, potentially have walked down the path that you walked down, very similar path. And those people are going to be people that you may be more prone to want to listen to. Some people in your life are just fun to be around. Like, you just like going out on the weekends with them. You like hanging out with them. You like, doing things together. But maybe they don't understand your path. Maybe they don't know why, your path is going the way it is. And that's okay. And finally, some are going to be just your family and lifelong friends that you keep in touch with occasionally, that you just tell, hey, this is what's going on in my life, but not really you don't really give them the deets. You don't give them the details. Is deets a new term? I don't know. Leave in the comment section if deets is something you've heard before. I don't know. I've heard it before. I don't know why it came out that way, but yeah, you may not share all the details with the people in your life right there, but ultimately, no matter who they are, they have their own path. You have your own path, and those paths don't have to even look remotely the same, and that's so great. That's so great. The path and the people you encounter are what I want you to keep in mind as we navigate this episode together today. I want to discuss why being selective about the people you take advice from is imperative for your success. The important word in there is your. This is your path, your success, right? It's not their success. It's not their path. So I want to show you today why being selective is imperative for your success. So I'm going to show you why it's important and give you some different ideas to think about to sort of wrap all this and bring all this together about how to be selective when taking others' advice. So to start off, didn't mean to do that. We are going to talk about how people give advice about everything. I want you to think about it. So take a moment and think about the last time you received advice. Was that person really the subject matter expert about what they were giving advice about? So I think they possibly were not, right? Because we give advice so freely. People will give you advice about finances. They'll tell you which stock you should buy, which stock you should have bought, how to save your money, and so many other financial things. And I know that I have to say this tongue in cheek because I don't really sit here and give financial advice. I give financial knowledge. I try to help people understand that they are in control of their finances, and I want to empower that person to take control of their finances by controlling the one thing they can control, themselves, right? Not here to sit here and tell you like this is the only way and this is the way you need to do, this is how you need to save money. This is the stock you should buy. Like, I'm not doing that. That's financial advice. People are going to give you nutrition or health advice. They're going to say, this is the diet you should be doing gluten-free. You should be doing no carbs. You should be doing paleo. You should be doing this workout. You should be doing 3x10s. You should be doing 5x5s. You should be doing these workouts, right? You should be running this far. Like, people are going to give you advice on nutrition and health. And then they're also going to give you career advice. This is where you should get a job. This is the field of study you should go into. This is the skill that you need to go learn. They're going to give you all this advice, and it's going to come so freely. But ultimately, they are only giving you advice based on what they did or what someone told them. That's where their advice comes from. And that's just hoping that they're actually somewhat knowledgeable. Maybe they've never done it, or maybe no one's ever told them, and they're just, spitballing, throwing things out at you. And you may even be taking it as good advice, right? This is the best place to start. When we think about advice, and so many people are going to give their advice, are they truly someone that you should take advice from on that topic? Think about it. Are you going to take house building advice from someone that works at a jewelry store? No. Like, why would I? Someone that specializes in diamonds is not going to tell me what kind of wood I need to build my house frame with. Nobody's going to do that. Like, that's not really the best place to go looking for that type of advice. Are you going to take running if you're going to go run a marathon, are you going to take advice on how to train and build up for that marathon from someone that hates running? Well, that doesn't make sense. All they can do is tell you maybe what they heard or what they read. But they've never done it. So why are you going to take advice from them? Well, you're not. Because at the end of this episode, you're going to learn how you can be very selective on who you take advice from. When we think about who we want to take advice from, we want it to be someone that has the knowledge and experience to give advice on the topic. And I think that's important. I think that's vital. And it goes truly into sort of why I really wanted to do this episode and why I really wanted to help drive this home. Because so many times we take advice that's freely given and it's not really coming from someone that is going to help us on that topic, right? So where to start on being selective for your advice taking? Well, that's the part I want to hit next. So when you're thinking about where to start, we need to look at the advice in general first. Advice is powerful and is given away more freely than anything else. The problem about it is giving away so freely is that no one knows where you want to go in life. You have a path, you have a journey, you have a destination, but no one knows exactly what that is. Only you. No one knows how the advice they are giving will actually fit into your life. There's so many parts, there's so many gaps that are going on in your life that you've not even potentially addressed. And they're going to give you advice that's going to alter that path. They're going to give you advice that's going to change the way that your trajectory goes. That's not what you want. You want someone that has either walked the path, or you want to be very specific about what you're asking advice for. Not this whole, give me some financial tips. Well, no, don't do that. Maybe you do want to talk about someone that has a very good savings rate. Maybe you want to say, hey, how did you get to a 70% savings rate? That's a very specific question. You're not asking them how to save money. You're saying, how did you get to a 70% savings rate? Because maybe that's something you're inspiring that you want to be at. You want to be at a 60, 70% savings rate. And then all of a sudden you can take that advice and learn how to implement that into your life. Where I want you to start is by never taking advice from someone that doesn't know how to get where you want to go. I think this is the easiest way to think about this through the lens of trading places. So if you can't look at someone and say, I'm willing to trade places with you so I can learn the way you got to where you're at. If you can't do that, probably wouldn't take advice from them. It's probably not the best place to look for advice. If you can't look at someone and say, I would love to trade places with that person so I can learn what they know, I wouldn't take advice from them. I would, if someone started giving me advice, I'd be like this monkey on the screen right here. Fingers in the ears, not listening. Maybe not that rude though. Maybe just don't listen. I don't know if as someone's talking to you, just automatically go up and put your fingers in your ears like this. Like I'm not listening to you. Like I don't think that's the greatest idea, but I mean, I'm not saying that it wouldn't work, but I don't think that's the greatest idea. But anyways, if you can just turn off the idea of listening to just anyone for advice that you're not willing to trade places with, you're in a good place to start. The next place to realize, and many will not understand your decision on your path and will criticize, and that's okay. So understanding that people are going to criticize you sometimes as they just watch as a spectator, that's okay. They will never really understand why you're making those decisions. I think the biggest place that I see this happen the most is when people first start their journey towards financial freedom or FIRE, the whole FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early. When people start going down that path and that journey, mind blown. People all around them are mind blown. Why do you have people renting rooms out in your house? Why are you saving all this money? Why are you living on nothing? Like, why are you doing this? And people don't understand. And it's not their place to have to understand. They don't need to understand. You don't have to explain it to them, right? The people around you will try to influence you, give you advice, and they will tell you what you're trying to do can't happen. That's what they're going to tell you. No one can just retire whenever they want. That's not, people are going to tell you that. You're like, you can't just retire whenever you want. And I have to ask why. Why can't you? Tell me why. What financial evidence, what statistical evidence, what historical evidence do you have that says I can't retire early? It's not true. There's many people out there retired early. And if I go around and I find those people and I seek them out and I ask them, what was the first step you took towards financial independence? And I guarantee you, I could put together a pretty sweet game plan for me to go through step one. I'm not asking for me to walk me down their path. I'm asking for the first step. Very specific, very selective in the advice that I'm taking. Identify when you're talking to someone that thinks like this whole negativity, this whole you can't retire whenever you want, and appreciate their opinion. But then look like the monkey. Inside of you, look like the monkey saying, blah, 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 I can't hear you, right? If you're listening on a podcast, the monkey doesn't make sense, but it's literally a monkey pretty much sticking his fingers in his ear saying, I can't hear you, right? Like, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to listen. It's the same thing that you would do if you were if you heard a loud noise, like a fire alarm going off, and you were sitting right next to it. You'd probably cover your ears. That's what the monkey does. That's what you should do. Not literally, but figuratively, that's what you should be doing. Appreciate their opinion. Tell them thank you. Thank you for your opinion. Thank you for, your thoughts on this matter. But that's kind of where you can stop. You don't have to get it. You don't have to feed it and get defensive about it. You don't have to be like, well, let me show you how I can retire early. You don't have to do that. All you need to do is say thank you. Thank you for your opinion. I appreciate it. Thank you for that advice. I appreciate it. But deep down inside of you, you're covering your ears and you're not listening. You're letting that go. You don't want to hear it, and that's fine. It's exactly where you want to be. So many people are going to try to tell you you can't do it. So many people are going to tell you that it's not possible. So many people are going to try to give you advice, and they don't even have experience in that field. Like, how can anyone tell you that you can't retire early if they've never tried? How can anyone tell you that this is how you train for a marathon if they've never run one? How can anyone tell you this is how you get to a 50% savings rate if they're at a 20% savings rate? You can't. I'm not taking get out of debt advice from someone that's in debt. Like that's truth. I mean, that's the truth, right? Like, you're looking for someone. I don't want to ask the person to come paint my house that doesn't know what a paintbrush is. Like, you have to be selective. You have to understand that there's going to be people out there that's going to tell you things, and they don't know. They're not professionals in that matter. I don't want to say they don't know what they're talking about, but that's kind of what I wanted to say. But they don't know they're not professionals on that subject. So cover your ears, move forward, and continue down your path. And I think that gets me to this final point, is I want you to remember that it's your path. It's your life. You choose your life. You choose your path. And that's so important. No matter where you currently are in life, you don't know everything. You don't. I don't know everything. I truthfully don't know everything. So here we go. I don't know everything. That's right. I said it, right? I mean it. You should say it. You don't know everything. Accept that. Will I make terrible decisions that possibly take me further from my destination? Of course. I will probably make a decision today that will not be the best decision. I will probably make a decision next month that might make me take 2 steps back from my financial goals. That's possible, right? It's probable. But the important thing to remember is that it's my path. You have a path. I have a path. We all have a path. And when I take those steps back, those steps back are only there to project me forward. So when I take those 2 steps back, I'm taking 4 forward, right? I'm going to end up in a better position. I'm going to learn. I'm going to grasp the concepts that I just faced, and I'm going to utilize those to better me in the future. And since you don't know everything, I think this is important. Since you don't know everything, it's important you take advice from some, but not everyone. There's a book out there, and I've talked about it in previous episodes, but the book is called The Richest Man in Babylon. And in that book, it was said, advice is the one thing that is freely given away, but watch that you take only what is worth having. I'm going to read that again. Advice is the one thing that is freely given away, but watch that you take only what is worth having. This is great advice. It's okay to take advice from people that have completed a part of the journey that you're walking through. That's okay. It's okay to be selective and take that advice. Just be selective. You don't need to take advice from someone that's not experienced in the field. You don't need to take advice from someone that doesn't know where you've been, that doesn't know where you're going. You've got to take advice from people that ultimately can help you on your journey. And that all brings me back. I talked about it at the very beginning. That word your success, your path, your journey this is all yours. People are going to try to jump in and tell you what you can't do, what you shouldn't do. That's not possible. Well, whatever. People are going to tell you these things and you can't buy into it. You've got to realize this is your journey, and it's okay to make bad decisions. It's okay. I mean, as long as they're not, immoral or unethical, it's okay to make decisions that don't end up the way you wanted them to, right? But you have to understand that's all part of the journey. That's all part of that 18% of our decisions we regret in our life. We have to know that. That's the stat that's out there. 18% of the average person's decisions they regret. So you're going to regret decisions. But you have to know that in the end, you will be better. You will get to where you want to go, because you're being selective and taking advice from those around you that have been through that part of the journey. You're ignoring the advice from those that are not really experts in that field. So as I bring this to a close, I want to tell you why this is, why so many people get stuck at like forks in the road, right? I want to show you why being so advice is why so many people get stuck at forks in the road. They know there's a decision on which road that they need to take, right? They're sitting at an intersection, they're sitting at a fork in the road, and they either need to go left or right. And they know that. It's sitting in front of them and they know it. But with so much advice being thrown at them every single day, they don't know what to do. So some will just stay there and get stuck, never moving left or right. Others will ask around, make decisions, but ultimately they're just going to waste time sitting at that fork. After today's episode, that won't be you, right? That won't be you. You're going to take a full speed approach to make a decision. You're going to reach out. You're going to take advice from select individuals that are professionals or people that have already walked down that part of the journey. And you're going to continue down your path, going left or right, depending on which one that selective advice drove you to, or which one you thought was best. You're going to make a decision, and it's going to be your decision. And you're going to live with that decision. No matter if that decision was right, no matter if that decision was wrong, the most important part was you made the decision. You will identify it quickly, you will learn from your mistakes, and you move on if it was the wrong decision. Now, even more easily, being able to identify and reach out to select individuals, you will have the credibility to give advice on the subject. You will have just walked down a journey that was a bad idea. You will have just walked down a journey, down a path that did not take you to where you thought it was going to take you. You've just, my friend, become an expert in that part of the path, not in the entire path, in that part of the path. You are now qualified to give credible advice on that part of the journey, right? And this is all the reason why I wanted to talk about this, was because advice is something that we really want. Like deep down, we want someone to advise us on things. And to be honest with you, I think that the biggest reason for that desire is because if someone told me what to do, I have someone to blame. And that's the real part of it. I think that we look for advice because we need somebody to blame. We need someone else to be there for, well, they told me to do this. So that's, I ended up here because they told me to do this. Instead of, taking that left and that left at that fork, knowing, or you should have gone right and you went left, regretting that decision. And now you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, man, I made the wrong decision, right? You have to own it, right? It's a lot tougher to own that mistake, a lot tougher to own that decision when it's yours. When someone else just advises you to do it, makes it a little easier. And I think that's one of the biggest driving factors behind why we do that, why we seek out advice so much. But this all came about as I was thinking about why being a financial coach is so fun. Like I was thinking about that. Why is being a financial coach so fun? Well, I think it's so fun to me because I have the opportunity to be totally transparent about mistakes. I get to tell you about some of the most egregious mistakes that I've made financially. I get to tell you how terrible those mistakes were, but I also get to inject hope into your life, showing you that I have financially turned those mistakes into a great point. I get to encourage you to show you that you can get past your mistakes as well, regardless of what those are. I find that it's fun because I get to walk people through real life instances where I was and encourage them knowing that they're going to get through it too. And I'm not here as a coach, identifying, where you're strong, but just really I'm here as a coach to say, this is where you're strong and this is where you're the weakest. But more importantly, I'm here as a partner to help get you through that issue, pointing out those great accomplishments that you're going through, pointing out those great spots that you're navigating, and ultimately giving you the knowledge and the tools to make your journey easier. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not here giving you advice. I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm not going to load you with a ton of advice saying, here's how you're about to be rich. Here's how you're going to be a millionaire. Here's how you're going to get out of debt in 3 weeks. I'm going to equip you with knowledge so that you can make smart decisions along your financial journey. I'm going to look at where you currently are, and I'm going to be there saying, I've done that too. I've as well been in a similar position. Here's how I got out of it. What that's going to do to you is that's going to trigger in your brain how you can get out of it. I'm not giving you advice to say, this is how you get out of it. What I'm doing is equipping you with knowledge, situation, and understanding so that you can make the decision that's best for you and your family. That's what I'm here to do. That's why I love being a financial coach. That's why it's so much fun to me. And that's the reason why I believe so much in how a financial coach can help you win with your personal finances. Now, if you are ready to make that jump and you're ready to take control of your finances, look no further than going to thefinancialmirror.org. If you need someone to sit down with you, build your personal plan for financial freedom, get you out of debt, help you start with your investments, a financial coach could be just what you need. Go over to thefinancialmirror.org, hit book now, schedule your free consultation today. Finally, if you do want to give a little extra dose of support to the stream, head on over to thefinancialmirror.org/shop, or just hit shop in the top right of the website and go ahead and pick you up some awesome financial gear, financial mirror gear that's on the website. I truly appreciate everyone tuning in today. It's been a great episode. I love the topic. I love the idea behind the topic, and I love that that I got a chance to deliver this to you, and I really hope that you got something out of it. I appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. If you are listening on a podcast, don't forget to leave that 5-star rating and that written comment. Those go a long ways in getting this information out, getting it to the friends, getting it to coworkers, getting it to family members, and more importantly, getting it to other people all across this planet that need help with their personal finances. That this once a week episode can really help drive them to achieve what they want to achieve financially. Till next week, I want you to continue improving the one thing you can control, yourself. Peace.
Well, that wraps up today's Financial Mirror. Join us next week as we continue to work on ourselves, change our mentality, and to commit to achieving the success we always envisioned. Regardless of your platform, help us grow as a community. Please like, subscribe, and share with the people in your lives.